Hi, my name's Theresa Bromm-Boesen, and this is Beginning Basketry. Hopefully you took a look at my last video in which we made this basket, which was really fun, a small basket with a woven base, and it turned out just great, and we had a lot of fun doing it. So thank you so much if you have seen that video. If not, take a look at it. I'm just going to tell you a little something about what your materials need to be. This is reed. This is called round reed, and it comes from Indonesia. It's from a palm plant. This palm plant can go 300 feet. It's just huge. But once they've cut it and they send it over to Hong Kong, they clean it all up, they wrap it up, and they bring it to market. And this is what it looks like when it comes to market. And that's what I buy to weave my baskets. The color comes from hand dyeing, so I hand dye my reed, and that just makes it a little more fun for me. Okay, here are your materials. We have, this is a dressmaker's tape, as is this, a measuring tool. Any of these measuring tools can work well for you. I tend to use this measuring tool mostly. These are your tools that are actually bead tools. If you do beading, you'll recognize these tools. So this is a round nose plier. This will kind of bend and compress, so that's a handy little tool. If you want to turn a corner sharply, you can compress your reed. And this, of course, is a bead cutter called Bead Buddy. And that's really the tool we're going to use today. That's really handy. This is actually a cheese cutter, so if you have one of these at home, you can do it, or a dull knife. This is toward the end when we're starting to lift out the stuff that we're going to cut off, so that doesn't come in until the end. I'm showing you this because this will be included in your kit for this particular basket that we're making today, which is a disc basket, all right, a flat disc, and it's got pre-drilled holes in it, and we'll begin that in a little bit. If you decide to color your disc like I like to do, it makes it a little bit more fun and artistic. You can use either an oil-based pen, and these are Sharpie pens, they're real nice, or you can use acrylic color. So I'll show you. So on this one I used the Sharpie-based pen. You know, it went pretty quickly, it's kind of fun. It's fairly resistant to water, so if it gets wet, you're good to go because it's oil-based. Here's a basket that I wove. Now you can just see there's the plain disc, but it still looks very nice. If you don't choose to do that, that's fine. And it makes a lovely little basket. And they're sturdy, they're real sturdy because this is made of wood. So that's kind of nice. Okay, here's a basket where I used acrylic paint to go ahead and decorate the bottom of the basket and the disc. And so I like that. That makes it pretty and makes it fun. So we're going to use this, which is a skewer, but we're going to use it for an owl, A-W-L, which is a tool that makes a hole. And so I'll show you how to do that in a few minutes, and then I'll show you how to weave the bottom of this. So you have 8 of these that'll turn into 16, and you'll be ready to weave. Okay, thank you, and I hope you enjoy the class. This is the beginning of your basket. It is a round disc, and it's been pre-drilled, as I said before. What we're going to do is we're going to take this owl, and we're going to put it in here to every single hole that's already been pre-drilled, just to make sure it's nice and open. All right, put it through, stick it through. I've actually already done this, but I'm going to just demonstrate it to you. So it's pretty nice. That one looks a little bit like it needs to be opened a little bit. There you go. There you go. Put it there and there. Okay, we're back around, and that looks great. Do the other side as well. I've already done the other side, so I'm not going to worry about that right now. Then choose your best side that you like to be the inside of your basket. Certainly if you're going to paint on it, or you're going to draw on it, as we have demonstrated here, then you want to go ahead and do that prior to weaving anything. Because once you start to weave, then you're going to get into soaking your reed, and it's going to be wet. So I'm going to just do a little demo on this one here. So you're going to flip it over. You're going to stick this through right here. You're going to stick the other one through behind it. Okay, and you're going to pull it up. This reed's been soaked a little, so it's a little flexible. You want to make sure that it's flexible and even this way. And then you're going to just pull it straight up, and it's going to make that little loop on the bottom. That'll be the feet that it sits on, so that'll be kind of nice. Okay, let's try it again. Okay, here's another one. We're going to weave that through there. Slippery. Put this through the next hole. Don't get it too soft, because you need it on this first step. You need it to be just a little bit stiff, so you can pull it on through. Pull that up, and when you even it out up here, make sure you get it even. That guy's going to come up just a little bit more. A little bit more. Now when it's even, go ahead and pull it up. Okay, so that's how easy it is to begin this basket. And the bottom will look like that, the top will look like that, and you will be ready to weave. I'm going to move this one over now, because this is the basket base that I'm going to weave. I'm going to set this down. And here's our first weave. On the bottom of this basket, I've decided, rather than to use 2 weavers, I'm going to use 3, because I want to show a new stitch, especially for those people who have seen my first video, or if you're interested in seeing the first one, you'll recognize that I used a lot of two weavers, which I will in this basket also. But for right now, I think it'd be fun to begin this basket with 3. So let me unwind this. I've had this soaking, and so you can see that this is flexible and wet. We're going to begin our basket with a weave that's called 3-rod wailing. It's a little hard to say, 3-rod wailing. And we're going to put our weavers just like that. So it's in front of this one, behind this one, behind that one, right? So the pink is in between these 2 whites. And now I'm going to push it in a little bit, so I got a good hold of it. It's a little slippery today. Okay. And now we're going to begin. This is going to be our first spoke that we're going to go around. So you have spoke 1, and you're going to go 1, 2, 3, and you're going to take the weaver that's on the outside, and you're going to put it right there to the 3rd one over. Okay? Here's the next one. This is actually in front of this one, so we're going to go 1, 2, 3. We're going to go behind that one. This one is actually in front of that weaver, this spoke. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. Move it over here. I'll lock it down and let go. I'm just going to not move my towel, but just move this. Okay, so here we are. Now we're locked in, and we're not afraid that they're going to slip anymore. We have this one in front of this spoke. 1, 2, 3, over. In front of this spoke, 1, 2, 3, over. And then again, in front of this spoke, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to keep doing that all the way around. So sometimes this reed gets tangled up. You just have to be patient with it and make sure it's nice and wet so it's flexible for you. Okay, 1, 2, 3. And it's okay, you can count all the way around. 2, 3, just like I do. I don't lose track of myself. Okay. Okay, you've made it all the way around once, and you're going to keep going. Now the reason I work on the towel is because all this reed that I soak in my buckets needs to be soaked for 7 to 10 minutes usually soften it up a little bit so you can work with it. Otherwise, the reed can be very stiff and it can crack, and that you do not want to have happen. 2, 3. So it needs to be flexible. Okay, we're starting to come around now to where we're finishing up the 3-rod whale. And I'm gonna make sure my basket is shooting straight up. And it looks like this. We've got these here. We're gonna count 1, 2, 3, and wrap. We're finishing up just exactly the way we started. 1, 2, 3, right there. 1, 2, 3, right there. So always making sure you're taking the one that's furthest to your left, down the outside, and you're going from there. 1, 2, 3. Here it is. 1, 2, 3. We're almost back around. 1, 2, 3. This is a 7-foot, so it'll take you all the way around on the bottom. 3. 3. Okay, this is where we started. So we're going to pull that guy off for just a second. We're going to tuck that in. I'm going to tuck this in. Oop. And we're going to tuck that in. Okay, so now they're all tucked in. The tucking. Okay, we're back around. We can see that we're back around by where we began right here. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. We're going to tuck that in. 1, 2, 3. We're going to tuck that in. 1, 2, 3. We're going to tuck that in. Okay? And we tuck them all down. And we're good. We're going to hold it there for just a minute. And that's the beginning of your base. Okay? Hold it down. These will start to go toward the inside, and you'll just pull them out a little bit because we want them to go straight up and we don't want them to lean in. But it's time for me to wet these a little bit because it's getting dry. And when it gets dry, it gets stiff and it's hard to work with. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look in here for just a second. I'm going to get this tool here. And we're going to lift this tool up. We're going to lift this. This is showing down here, so I want to get rid of that right now. I'm going to go in with my cutting tool. I'm going to lift it up and I'm going to cut it. I'm going to push it back so it's not sticking out. The next one that's showing is the pink. I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to go in through the side. It's a little awkward, but I'm going to cut that. Get that out of the middle. And then they start to just push into the side, and then you won't see them. All right. So now we know that we started over here. I'm going to pull that back up. We started right here because there you can see it. That's where we started, okay, and where we ended. I'm actually going to put it right on the middle one. And because this has been wound with 3 weavers, sometimes it gets a little uneven because you've got that one extra weaver. So I'm going to walk over here. I'm going to say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see. I want to find the opposite one. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so there's the opposite one, and I'm going to take these 2 weavers, and I'm going to put them right there on one side and the other side. And I've just got 2 now. And the reason I'm doing that is because all my cut sides would be piled on top of each other over here, and I want to kind of spread that out a little bit. So, and I also just want to even it out, because wherever you're going to tie on, you're going to have one extra weaver. So even though we had 3 extra weavers to start with, we actually probably have 4 over here because that's where we tied on. So that side's going to be a little higher. I want to balance it out. We're beginning on this. I've counted 8 over. This is directly across. I'm going to take my 2 weavers on either side of this spoke. I'm going to hold it down, and then I'm going to take the outside weaver on the left and put it behind the next spoke. All right? Now this becomes the outside weaver. I'm putting it behind the next spoke. We're going to go behind. All right, this now becomes the next weaver. It goes behind. The one on the outside is always the next weaver, and we go behind. And we're going to do that all the way around. Make sure your weavers are well soaked. These weavers can be a little stiff. Okay, we've made it once around. Once around. Okay, we're going to start pulling back ever so slightly on these spokes because they're really starting to lean in. So as I go around now, I'm going to pull it just slightly toward me. Okay, make sure it's kind of starting to straighten out and stand up straight. Okay, now we're coming to the end of our weave here, that we have the 2 weave. We've been going over, under every single one. Now here we go again. And because we started at the exact opposite, you can see it's starting to, it's starting to level out a little bit. So that's good, that's what we want. So now you have to ask yourself, all right, let's see, over, under. And I'd say we have to go right now, we have to tuck that one in, and we have to go into this one because it should always come right behind there. If it doesn't come behind there, then you need to pull it back one. But I'm going to just put that in there because you don't want these things popping out. And we want to make sure that we're pulling that basket a little bit out. Make sure that you keep pulling these out slightly because they do like to go in. If you end up with a basket that has moved inward, that's okay. Just top it off. You'll just have a smaller mouth on it. And I use mine for chopsticks. So you can always find a use for a basket. A basket's a wonderful thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut this right here, which is quite long. Shake that out, set that aside. Okay, and now we're gonna go right along. I have these that I'm going to add just to put a side note in here. I'm going to add these so we can have a prettier, fuller top on it, but we're not there quite yet. So we still have a little bit of a ways to go before we can begin to add these. We have neutral and pink on the bottom, which is pulling up the color of the art that I've done. Now we have a neutral in between, and now I thought it would be fun to go ahead and pull the blue. So now we've got a blue and a neutral. And we're just gonna do the same kind of weave we just did with the 2 weavers. And that's called randing, in and out, in and out. Now on this one, because we're pretty even and we're looking pretty good, I'm gonna put this right on top of that. I actually am gonna move it back one just because that's slightly short. I don't want it popping out on me. So I'm gonna put the blue to the left of that spoke. I'm going to put the neutral to the other side. I'm going to hold them down just like that, and I'm going to take the one that's on the left and I'm going to wrap it around the spoke that's to the right. Okay, the next one that's on the left is the neutral. I'm wrapping that around the spoke that's to the right. Okay, we're just going to do this back and forth, in and out, called randing. So I'm going to count now. I've got 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. I'm counting all my blues. That helps me know where I am. And I want to see if this is going to fit here. I think I'm going to go around one more time, and then I'm going to add those little additions. The reason I'm doing the little additions that I'm going to include in your kit is because these are kind of wimpy, and they certainly can make the top of a basket, but they don't make it quite as beautiful as if it's, you know, got a double reed in it. I just think it's a little heavier statement on the top, and it makes it more decorative. When you have colored reed, you want to soak it separately than your neutral reed. Don't soak it together unless you're going to take it out really quickly, because the colored reed can bleed a little bit, and you don't want to have that happen. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. That's going to be 5 because that's where we tied on, and that's understandable. Then let me see if I got 4 everywhere else. I got 4 everywhere else. That looks good. I'm going to pull that aside. I'm going to measure this again and see if it's a good time to add it. Yeah, it's a perfect time to add it, I think. So I'm going to cut this off. I know I gave you a little bit extra, but you know, that's okay. So we're going to cut this off. I'm going to throw that away. All right, I'm going to tuck that in. I'm going to tuck that in. Yep. All right, we're going to go in, we're going to cut this. Now sometimes I don't cut till the very, very end. So there's no rush to cut. I just don't want it to be confusing to you as you're watching me do this. All right, so those are going to tuck down in. So now I have these additives. So I'm going to soak them in water for half a second, but I don't want them to be too soft. They need to be a little bit stiff. These will be included in your kit. And you don't have to add these if you don't want to, but I just think it makes a prettier top. So if you'd like to, I think it's a good exercise because I'm going to show you how to do it. Okay. So I'm going to put this owl in here. I always say owl like it's a bird, but it's not. It's an awl, A-W-L, but. All right. And we're going to measure that, and we're going to take that out, and we're going to leave it. It's just poking in there, just the slightest bit. Okay, here's your next one. And you're going to put it to the left, please. Put it to the left, poke it on in there. This creates a little space for it to slide in. Sometimes I even make it a little pointy at the end. You know, I take it and I make a little point just like that, the slightest little point. Let's see if that slides in that way a little bit better, because sometimes it does. Yeah. Make sure it's evening. Yep, it's even at the top. Okay, we've made it all the way around the basket now, and I've put in the second spoke, and once again, you make a little space with your owl, Make a little space. You're not putting it too deep because you want the top to measure up. And I've cut it at a little bit of an angle so it slides in easily. Okay, I can pull it up because I'm gonna weave it in right now. So, there they are. Okay, we have ended the blue and white now, and I'm about to do pink and white to pick up what I've done on the bottom here, because I think that would look good. So I'm gonna mark that spoke, and now don't forget we've got the double spoke. So we're gonna start winding the double, okay? Okay, we're gonna put the pink to the left, the white to the right of this spoke, where we've left off. I just moved one over, make sure this is staying down nice and tight. All right, I'm still pulling this slightly toward me, okay? The left goes around the spoke to the right. Now we're wrapping two spokes as one. So these two spokes have become one. I'm gonna move this back over. Very gently, you're gonna go. You don't want that added spoke to be hopping out of there. Yeah, good. So by doing this, you're literally locking in that additional spoke. Okay, we are almost done with our basket, ready to put the finishing touch on the rim. I've just soaked it for the last time. I've soaked the entire basket. Mostly I want to make sure that these are flexible and pliable so I can make that rim around. I've also wanted to show you, so we have the pink and white on the bottom, the 3-rod whale, and then we have 2 weavers in a neutral. Then we have a blue and a white, and once again, just 2 weavers, and then 2 weavers again in pink and white. But it makes a cute little checkerboard pattern, which I really like. I think that's a good idea, and it creates some variety and really makes your basket look really cute. So now we're done up here. I'm counting, just like I counted down here. I've done 1, 2, 3, 4 in blue. And now over here, 1, 2, 3, 4 up here. I'm gonna wind this back around this one, and then we're gonna tuck it in. So this is a lot. I'm gonna have to take a look at that. We're gonna cut that off, throw that down. We have now reached this, and I've pulled it out, I've bent these back, we're good to go. So I'm gonna tuck that in. We're gonna cut that in a little while. Let me see if there's anything else that I can cut that we've already wound. Yeah, so I'm gonna clean this up a little bit from the inside. If it's super long, I want you to be super careful that you're not cutting your basket. You're just cutting these extra things, so I always pull it out and then cut it. All right, get a hold of it, pull it out, and cut it, okay? You don't want to be cutting into your basket. I am now going to mark our beginning. Let's mark this one as our beginning, okay? All right. You will see that these are now either the same length or almost the same length. Good enough, you're good to go. So we're gonna mark that. We're gonna take this spoke, we're gonna call this 1 spoke, and we're gonna put it behind that one. And then we're gonna take the one that's standing and we're gonna put it behind that one. You're gonna keep moving to the right. This one behind that. This one behind that. This one going. Keep them flat just so they look good. Keep them nice and flat. Don't let them roll over each other. Okay. Flat and behind, flat and behind. If you see these little hairs, you need to cut them, don't pull them. Just make sure you cut them because it'll rip your reed if you don't cut them, so be careful. Okay, we've made it all the way around. And now here's where we started. We're gonna take this off. Always keep this kind of loose so you're not struggling to get it off. Okay, flat. And now this one will come through that hole right there. Once again, flat. And now they're all facing outward, okay? So now that they're facing outward, we're gonna mark one more spot. Let's mark this one here. It doesn't really matter where you mark it. Just mark it as the beginning. That's your beginning. Twist it down. We're gonna take this, make sure your reed is wet enough because it will crack at this point if it's not. Okay, you're gonna put that right in there like that. Okay, this one, you're gonna put that right in there. Over that, right through that hole, and down. Hole, and down. They're all gathering in there. We'll deal with them in just a minute. Flatten it out. See how pretty that is? It's getting pretty. Get in there. We're going to take this off now. So we know that's where we're going. We're going to open up this last one and put this right in there. Move this way. So when you look at the inside of your basket, you've got all this going on inside. This is where it gets a little bit crazy, but hang in there, because I'm going to show you how to figure that all out. I'm going to soak this one more time at this point for just a minute, because I really need this to be flexible. It's getting a little stiff on me. The inside of the basket needs to be tied down a little bit so that these things aren't just flailing out. And so the way to do that is you're gonna look inside your basket. You know, this is why I think maybe for you 6 might be a good length to go. 5.5, 6 might be a good length to go, because you want these to be fairly long, but not too long. But so I'm gonna cross from the left over the right, and then I'm gonna bend it down, and I'm gonna take that one that is now standing, I'm gonna go over the right. So I keep going left to right. This one, left, over the right. Left, over the right. I keep picking up as I'm going, can you see that? Left, over the right. Over the right, bend it down. Left over the right, bend it down. This is a little hard, so be patient with yourself. Left over the right, bend it down. And left over the right, bend it down. We have come to the end. You can see that it's getting all locked down. Now I find a space right here, okay? And I pull it up a little bit. Up. This is kind of, you gotta have strong fingers to do this one. You're gonna tuck that in first. You're gonna tuck that one in second. All the way down. You are locked in. You are locked in. You're gonna push on some of these and make sure you got it nice and tight. Good. That is your pretty top to your basket. And now you're going to go through and you're going to just trim. So once again, you're going to use this tool to pull out because you don't want to cut your basket. All right, cut it. Okay, and that can just live right inside your basket, and you're going to do that all the way around. You're going to cut these about 1 inch or so. Yep. There you go. And that's what you're going to do all the way around your basket to clean it up and to finish it off. Okay, so here is your beautiful new basket. I think it turned out really cute. We've picked up the colors that are inside, and I'll be putting some colors in your kit so you can design your own basket. And here's the inside, very pretty. Here's the outside, very cute, decorative. And I hope you enjoyed this class.